Hello, welcome to Sweet Seat Wednesday. My name is Kevin. I'm the owner of Southwest Facility Services, and today we're going to be building a task chair. So I gotta tell you, it's a pile of parts right now, but by the time we're done, it's going to look like, cameraman, look over here. It's going to look like this. This is a multi-function task chair from Office Furniture Distributors. Every major manufacturer has basically this task chair or a version of it. Mesh back, tractor style seat with adjustable arms and a multi-function control mechanism. So here we go. We've got our seat pan, we've got our multi-function control mechanism, and some other odds and ends on the table. There is a front and a back to the seat. So as you look at it, typically you're going to have an indent here for circulation and for your legs and butt to sit. So we're going to do it. This is the back, this is the front. Oftentimes it will have a sticker that says back and front. And then your control mechanism, that is the back, because that is where your seat back will attach to. So this is fairly simple, and you got to remember you don't need a ton of tools when doing this. It is helpful if you have a drill or a set of Allen wrenches, but it usually will come with at least one Allen wrench. Typically what we do is we start every bolt by hand, and then you just go from there. You don't want to over torque or over tighten. You do it just like you're doing a spare tire, or when you replace a tire, you want to do it in a star pattern of sorts. Okay. So now we're at the second portion of putting the chair together. This is one thing I like to do, is I'll put the arms on next. Some people would say they get in the way. I think if you keep the star base off, you keep that out, but this allows me to kind of manipulate the chair a little bit. This isn't in, and I got to tell you, this isn't in all the way yet, but it is just sitting there, but it allows me to keep a grip on it. The chair arm, if you look, and we'll turn it to the side in just a second, but it's got an angle to it. You want that angle to go forward, and then you take your tensioner or your tightener, put it in it. Keep in mind there is a washer that goes with this. So that washer's on. And then I move the arm all the way to the outside. As this is, especially when you're doing chairs in mass production, I want this to be able to fit everybody. So if you're petite and you get in this chair, that's fine. We can adjust these and bring them in very easily. But if you're a bigger guy, last thing I want you to do is sit down in this chair and have these catch you in a hip or your love handles or what have you. So again, rotate it on its side. I know you can't see this part, but it's fairly simple. Again, there's a washer. Sometimes they're a different color, but there's usually two that go with it. Sometimes they'll do lock washers on these, but it makes it very easy to identify what parts go where. If you've done enough of these, looking at the instructions became less and less important. Again, you're going to tighten this up. Then you can see we got both handles on. Then what I do is I'll move this over. I'm going to put it, because the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the back on this. And what I want to do is I want to move it to the edge of the table, or if I have a chair box, I'll put it on that. And then I can easily put the chair back on here. So step 3 is we're going to put the back on. What I did is I jumped ahead because quite honestly it's way too difficult to hold a camera and balance this and put this on and get the right angle. So what I did is that I put this to the edge of the table. Sometimes I use the box that it comes in. It hangs there, and I put the one bolt in, and then I come back with the two other ones. Now keep in mind that the nuts and bolts for the back are typically bigger than the other ones. They're little heavier duty. They support the weight of the back, and then again, make sure you use your washers. Make sure you don't cross thread. If you've never done this before, it's not a bad idea to use just an Allen tool. Sometimes the feel of the bolt going in doesn't always translate through the drill. So, and then what I like to do is come back through. Even though I've got a pretty decent torque setting on that, you can see that I've still got turns left on this, and I want to get them cinched down because this is definitely something I don't want to mess with again. And then after this, once this is secure, we're going to come back on, and we've got a trim cover that's going to go right here, and we'll do that once we turn the seat in the upright position. We're going to put the star base on, we're going to put the wheels on, and then the last thing we'll do is we'll come back and put that trim cover on. There you go. So step 4, we've got the back on, we've got the arms on, the mechanism is connected to the pan. Now the star base. Now you got to remember this star base, the dust cover, the cylinder are all compression fitting. Once you sit into this, it's really going to lock it into place. And then what you have is the wheels. Wheels are fairly universal. We don't talk about them enough, especially in the seating industry. But this is just a standard hard floor caster or low pile caster. They make a soft floor caster. They make a hard floor caster. They make a it's kind of like a rollerblade, which will, just keep in mind, if you do go that route with something that's got a little more spin to it, it does change the height of the chair. So if you don't have a low cylinder and you go and you buy one of these $20 kits off Amazon or some of the other wheel providers out there, you are going to change the height of your chair. And if your cylinder doesn't go down low enough, you may have a chair that actually doesn't fit you any longer. Now these wheels, we did a tune-up video not too long ago. They typically just slide right into place. You usually don't have to use a lot of force to get them there. Sometimes, in some instances, what you'll end up having to do is maybe take a piece of wood or small dowel and a hammer and just tap it into place, especially if you have this lock ring on the end of here, if it's not a good fit. But you can see these all slid in very well. On the underside of this chair, since I've got you here, what I want to do is I want to show you the mechanism. So this is the tensioner for the chair. This is for the seat slider, and then you have your up, down, and positive and negative tilt controls. One for the back and one for the actual seat. And then this is what's called infinite adjustment, meaning you can fine tune this chair to fit your need. Typically this is all the way out, but if you need a little bit of adjustment that you don't get with your positive and negative tilt, you can use this to do that. And it's got a little piece in here that will help to adjust the high-low settings on your chair. This is usually pretty tight, but again, this is the spring load for the tension in the seat. So when you go to lean back, if it leans back very quickly or without any resistance, you definitely want to adjust this. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey is the rule of thumb. Now that we've got the chair in this position, all we're going to do is we're going to flip it over. Typically, I would do this right under the ground, but since we got our handy-dandy table here, I'm just going to show you. This is going to go into an upright position. And then if this was on the ground, the first thing I would do is I would sit in it to lock everything in place. But since I've got you here, what we're going to do is we're going to put our last little trim piece on. Not every chair has one of these. And typically what I like to do, let's just do this by hand so you don't strip out these little screws. So now that it's done, we've sat in it, we've locked everything in place. Everything should work just fine. That's the idea, right? So your seat slider mechanism on the left, your arms go up and down. Can they go in and out? Let's see. This one here, which is again multifunction task chair, it's got a ratchet style back to adjust it. Your lumbar support go up. When you hit the top, it's going to release, and then you can move it back down. Usually it's 4, 5, or 6 clicks up. And then you have your mechanisms on the side. Up, down, seat tilt, back tilt, and seat tilt. And this will give you your positive and negative adjustments in your seat. You have your seat tensioner, which is usually here on the front. So when you lean back, if you don't feel any pressure, it's because the spring in here isn't tight. And you can just righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. And then the last thing is, most of these chairs will have a infinite adjustment which means you can adjust your seat just finite. It's basically got a screw that runs the width of the chair and an adjustment block that'll raise it up or down just a little bit. That's it. Multifunction task chair. This one's from Office Furniture Distributors based out of Dallas. They're a great company, quick. They've got hundreds and hundreds of these in store. If you're interested, feel free to reach out. We can get you pricing. We get you discounts if you're a veteran. Military, police. I was an EMT for 10 years. My heart goes out to you guys. Thanks for looking, and we'll go from there. Thank you so much for watching. If you've gotten this far, again, thanks for sticking with us. Hey, just wanted to go over the remaining steps, make sure we hit everything and that there's no questions. Step one, I'm going to say it, and I didn't say it in the video, but if you're doing this yourself, please check the box for damage. Unpack, familiarize yourself with all the parts, pieces, take an inventory, make sure everything's there. Step two is attach the mechanism to the seat pan. Typically there's 4 bolts. Sometimes there's 6, again, but typically there are only 4. Step 3 is attach the arms to the seat pan. In some instances, you'll have to attach the brackets that holds the arm in place, and there's usually 4 bolts with those brackets. Once those brackets are in place, or if they're already in place, you slide the arms in and use the tensioner or the adjusters to cinch those down. And those typically have an in and out option. If you're petite, you move them in. If you're not as petite, you move them out. Step 4 is attach the seat back to the seat mechanism. Typically there's between 3 and 4 bolts for that seat back attaching to the mechanism, and these bolts are typically or usually the largest in the bolt kit. Step 5, attach the star base. This is a compression fitting that will sit on the cylinder. If you haven't already put the cylinder in, you're putting it in now, take a look and make sure that you have a dust cover. If you don't have a dust cover, it's not the end of the world. Some come with them, some do not. And once you put that cylinder in, keep in mind it is a compression fitting. So once you sit in the chair, it's going to lock it into the place, and it'll lock it into place on the star base. Step 6 is push the wheels into the holes on the star base. You may have to tap them in with a hammer. Be gentle. I know hammer and gentle doesn't always make sense, but in this instance, getting a bigger hammer does not solve the problem. Just use a little finesse when you get in. Usually I can push them in with my thumb. Step 7, double check all your bolts and then flip the chair over again and sit in it. Test all of your adjustments, your levers, make sure that everything works as it should. And then step 8, enjoy your new chair. Hopefully it's purchased from Southwest Facility Services based out of Tempe. Step 9, again, like, follow, and share for more Sweet Seat Wednesday content. Again, thank you for watching. Enjoy your day.